What's up?
Dude, let's go fishing.
Not eating breakfast.
Well, I want to go fishing.
You want to go fishing?
Well, I want to go fishing.
Alright, we'll go fishing. Go get your rod.
I got my rod. I'm ready to go.
You got your rod, then go get your hooks.
Yeah, I got my rigs. I got circle hooks. I got weight. I got it. I'm ready to go. Let's go fishing.
Got your hooks. Alright. Go get your bait.
Bait? Before we get started with the bait, do you like the merch shop? Yeah, thank you. It's pretty cool. Grab yourself some merch. You know you need a team puffer shirt or a team bluefish shirt. You can stop by, get all your neat look good when you're fishing. All right, talking about bait, there are at least 4 categories of bait I want to start talking about. And the first one is live bait. And in order of appearance, live bait is probably your best bet. And you can throw a cast net, you can get shrimp. That's a great bait right there. We're going to talk about in this video what you can use it for. You can get minnows. You can, if you have a cast net again, you can get some live minnows and go fishing with them. That is another great bait. You can get fiddler crabs. Black drum love fiddler crabs. So you put a little fiddler crab on there, a little live one, and you just toss them out, especially in the ICW. Get yourself a black drum. And of course, my favorite, yabbies. And if you need the pump, I'll put a link below. You can find the pump on Amazon, and you can pump your own yabbies up. Next up, if you can't get live bait, you can get fresh bait. That's right, fresh bait is like live bait, but it hasn't been yet frozen. So you stop at the store and you pick up some fresh shrimp, for example. That's a good fresh, or you can get some fresh cut mullet in some of these stores. Or you can just catch yourself a mullet and you can use it, or pinfish makes great bait. So that's another way you can go. 3 up. Frozen. If you can't get live and you can't get fresh, you can always get frozen bait. It's going to be, one of the least favorites of the fish. They like the live, and if they can't get the live, they like fresh. But, if all you can get is frozen shrimp, then you get frozen shrimp. They sell those frozen mullets, so you can get those. Those work great for bluefish, especially in the spring. I catch mullet in the fall, and I freeze them all winter, and I use them in the spring, just like I'm showing you right here. I just put it on the hook, and I catch bluefish all day long. And last but not least, if you can't do any of those, you can always go with fake bait. What is fake bait? Well, there's a couple of different types of categories, I guess. Number one is kind of the flavors. Like you might have seen the video where I did the Fish Gums bait soak, which is supposed to, you put shrimp in the bag and you shake and bake right there, and basically it makes it supposed to make it taste like bloodworms, or gives it that scent. So it's an attractant. That's one type. Another type you can do is like fish bites, or here I got myself some fish gum. This looks really good, by the way. I need sharper scissors. I was trying to cut it. I realized I definitely need to sharpen my scissors. But they also had this bloodworm pack, which was sort of just like a square. It wasn't like the gummy stuff, but that's another type of fake bait. And with the fish gum, you don't even really need to put anything else on. You might have seen the videos where I put a little fish bite, and then I just use it as an attractant, and I add the shrimp. Look right here, I went down to the point just to try it out. A little fish gum, just right off the part where the sandbar where everyone hangs out, and I was catching croaker, nice size croaker. Not my favorite fish, but look how big he is. So when you catch a big one like that, it's just a nice fight. So I caught that all on the fake bait there, fish gum. Where to buy bait? So depending on what you want to get, depends on where you want to go. First of all, if you're going to go with your own bait, catching your own bait, live bait, you want to go to the store and get a cast net. Dutchman's Creeks has them. Most of the bait shops around here. Get yourself a cast net. Go down to 40th Street. And you'll see the end of the Davis Canal. Go there probably, maybe high tide. Throw the cast net out there and get some. You might get some minnows. You might get some shrimp. And you just pull them up. You get yourself a little bucket to keep them in. Go to Barbie, right there, the Maymore Park off of Barbie, right where the library is. You'll see people at low, look at all these people there, at low tide, and they're just throwing their cast nets. Everyone's got a cast net, and they're just reeling in shrimp. You can get a pump, and you can catch some yabbies. Go shrimp, my favorite, right there. Or even get a sand flea trap like that. Catch yourself some live bait. But if you don't, you can always just go to the beach pantry down by Midway there. Look, you just walk into the beach pantry. You think, look, you're going to get some What do you get in there for $10? Some Doritos, those hot flamey Doritos, or I guess cigarettes. Do people still smoke cigarettes? Vapes. Get some beer and get some bait. Look, they got a freezer full of. They got frozen shrimp. They got all kinds of bait in there. Number 2, the Oak Island Sporting Goods Shop, right on the island. I go there all the time when I'm doing my family fishing tours with Tour H2O. I will go there in the morning and just pick up some. They have a frozen bait, but they also have packets of fresh bait, and just so easy when I know I need to pick up some hooks and some rigs. I stop in there, and once in a while they also have some live bait, so you got to check with them. But they definitely have a good frozen section and a fresh section. Here's the fresh shrimp. They have some fresh worms. Sometimes I think they even have bloodworms in there, so check with them. Next up is Dutchman's Creek. So Dutchman's Creek, again, a great place to go. Great people there can help you out with all your fishing needs. If you need a rod, a reel, you need some rigs, anything, they will hook you up. Tell them I sent you. They'll be happy to help you out. And they have some frozen bait, but they also have a back where you can get they've got all kinds of live stuff. Now, I would call ahead if I were you and ask them what they got. You can stop, by the way, there's your sand rake for your sand fleas, or the other, you can get aerator to keep your fresh fish alive. If you're, even if you're buying them, you want to have something like that just to keep them fresh. But they go in the back there and they've got these different containers, and sometimes they've got shrimp, and sometimes they got minnows, and sometimes they got fiddler crabs. So call ahead, ask them what they got. You can just go in there and get a whole bunch of different live baits, and you're going to be good to go, right? So there's some minnows in there, I think. I can't really tell. Bubbles. They're selling bubbles. All right, here we go. Check it out. What do we got in the magic bucket here? We got some live shrimp. So call ahead, like I said, check, see what they got. Great place to stop by. Next up, Clem's. If you've been just up a little bit from the airport there, Clem's, new owners right there. I went in there with a camera the day. I don't think they were as happy. They were like, what are you doing? It's a camera. But yeah, so you can go into Clem's, and they have, again, both live and fresh bait. You've probably seen, if you've seen any of my videos, you know I've stopped in there and I pick up some, they have a whole little bucket there with the fresh shrimp. But they also have, here they had some crabs this day. They usually have minnows in there. They usually get some mud minnows. They sometimes have shrimp. Again, you can call ahead and ask them what they got, but they almost always have fresh shrimp there. So I just grab a bag of fresh shrimp and get out there, get fishing. And last stop, you can try, if you're all the way up at the top there, you can try Mad King's Tackle all the way up by the new Lowe's up there. And you can go in there, and they have, I don't know how much frozen bait. I don't remember how much frozen bait they do, but they do have occasionally fiddler crabs. So if you're looking specifically for fiddler crabs, you can go in there. I was trying to do a sheephead video one time, and I could never catch a sheephead. So I think I went to Mad King's that week like 3 times. I kept getting scoops and scoops of fiddler crabs, and the sheephead are smarter than me. They can bite the fiddler crab right off the hook before I can even notice it and catch them. So I'm not a very good sheephead catcher, but if you need fiddler crabs, there's the place to go. So that's where you can get your bait. Let's talk about what type of bait you're going to use. I always talk about targeting your species. You got to know what you want to catch. You just can't go to the beach and be like, oh, I just want to catch a fish. It doesn't work that way. So if you want to catch smaller fish, like panfish, puffer, whiting, croaker, pompano, these are, and I'll throw in black drum there, these are the baits you can use. For starters, you can't go wrong with shrimp for all of these fish. You can use fresh shrimp, you can use frozen shrimp, you can use live shrimp. I even got shrimp here when some bait attracted added to it, so that's why it is bright green right there, right? So I'm trying my best to pull out all the stops. You can use fish bites, the shrimp flavor. You go down there, and those fish are just going to love shrimp. You can't, if you're one of those people who I just want to catch a fish, you can't go wrong with shrimp. Definitely in the March, go out there with some shrimp. That's when it starts. Get some puffer, like this little guy right here. He's a little too small, but we're going to try to catch some bigger ones next March. So next on the list, sand fleas. Again, puffer, whiting, pompano, all going to go after sand fleas and black drum. I'm going to keep leaving him out. I got to leave him in there. You can go get yourself the rake. I got the little scoopy bucket here. I like it because it's small and I like to be compact. Look at the beach. Look for areas where it's bumpy. If it's all smooth. Not where it's rocky, but it's all smooth. Then there's a bumpy area. That's a colony of sand fleas, my friends. And you just stick your rake in there, or you scoop, or you can just use your hands and throw them in a bucket. The rake and the scoop is cool because you kind of rinse it like this, and the sand goes through the holes, but the little sand fleas stay in there. So take them back. I like to open up the little flappy thing on the bottom, and if I see eggs in there, I'm using that bad boy because I think that fish like sand flea eggs. So I also cut off the back now because I realize if the back is cut off, there's a lot of little juicy goodness coming out. So there's more scent in the water, more flavor. Fish are going to be more attracted to it. I go in the top with my hook. I don't know how you guys do it. If you do it different, leave a comment. But I go in the top with a little pointer coming out into the flappy things because I feel like they're going after those eggs under the flappy thing. So I want the point to be right there. And I just cast that out and I see what I can catch. And once in a while I get lucky, like pompano. That was on our list, right, of the panfish. I'm calling him panfish here, but you need a pretty big pan for that one. Love pompano. Great fighters, great tasting fish. Squid. You can catch all these fish, puffer, croaker, whiting, pompano, and occasionally black drum on squid. I am just not really a fan of squid because I find it to be kind of hard to use. And you might have a different attitude about it, but usually I just get some frozen bait squid like I've got here, and when I'm desperate. And again, I don't use it a lot, but here I am showing you how I use it. So again, I don't know if I'm doing this right. I usually just cut it off into what becomes like strips, and I'll kind of try to stick the hook. And I think of it like a fish gum. If you look at the back of the fish gum pack, it tells you to kind of add the fish gum like this. So I sort of add my squid like the fish gum pack in the back, just like that. And you can catch fish on it. It does work. Here's a little whiting caught on the fresh squid. I just find it messy and slimy, and shrimp is so much easier, and I catch the same fish with shrimp, right? So that's just my personal opinion. You can get bloodworms, and you can buy them around here. I think the last time I saw them was Clemson. They might have been like $15. They're just astronomical. You got to be rich. So if you guys are rich or you want to give me a Christmas present, buy bloodworms or get the fake bloodworms, right? And of course, ghost shrimp, my favorite. You never go wrong with the ghost shrimp. I tell you what, if I throw a ghost shrimp, I'm going to catch I'll catch big fish. Like you throw a piece of shrimp and the big whiting will be like, let the little whiting get it. You show a ghost shrimp and the big whiting will like, well, back off, buddy. That's mine. So here we got a little ghost shrimp. I'm filling up my bucket here. Also want to get yourself some miracle thread, which is like really stretchy dental floss. You need that because basically they'll fly off the hook. There's no way they're going to stay on the hook if you don't have the miracle thread. So I like to take the hook. I like to stick it into the mushy, ushy, gooky part. That's where the orange part is. I think that's the best tasting part. The rest of it's really shell. The top is shell, the tail is shell, but the middle, the ooky gooky part the fish like. So I get the hook right in the ooky gooky part. Then I take my miracle thread and I wrap the tail around the top of the shaft, if you will, of the hook, and then I'll kind of curl up the head, including the big pincher, if it's a male, and we'll wrap that up as well. So the ooky gooky part is kind of hanging on the bottom like a little ball, and I'll tell you what, I cast that out, and you try it, you'll see, you'll catch a fish, and yeah. So, and if that doesn't work, you can try that fish bait from fish gum that's supposed to make your shrimp taste like bloodworms. So. Let's move on to some bigger fish. Red drum, Spanish, and bluefish can all be caught in the surf on Oak Island. And what I would do personally and have done if I was going to catch one of these fish right here is I would want to, number one, get myself a cast net and throw some finger mullet, especially in the fall when they're running, or I guess you can do mud minnows and buy them in the spring from those places I previously mentioned. You take the cast net, you throw it out there in the fall when the mullet are running, and you can be a bad cast net. Some people say I don't throw the cast net very well. Some people. Anyway, you throw it out there in the fall. It doesn't matter if you're good or bad at throwing the cast net because when it lands on the fish, look at all those. I got at least 3. And so I take the hook. I stick them in the back by the dorsal fin. Some people stick them through the head. That's personal choice. I got a double drop rig here. I use a Carolina rig as well. Usually a Carolina rig for these big fish and maybe even some fishing wire. But these guys can be toothy. Cast that out and you'll catch a fish. Well, I don't remember seeing that. What is that? That was not in my little presentation there. I showed Spanish and bluefish. You know what? We better throw him back before someone sees me with this extinct fish here. Throw him back. But besides that fish, you can catch him too. Yeah, that's try. I just didn't put him in the presentation because I don't want to go to jail. So yeah, you can just throw it out there, and in the fall or in the spring, but in the fall with those finger mullet, the bluefish come by. They're chasing them up the beach, and you can get yourself a nice big bluefish. And if you eat them that night, you bleed them that night, and eat them that night. Bluefish is pretty good. People say no. I say yeah. Get yourself a bluefish. Okay, what is that? You can catch. That wasn't in the presentation either. That's a ribbon fish right there. He snuck up on me one day. That's the only one I think maybe I caught one on the pier one time, but that's the only one I ever caught in the surf. But and then of course you can catch Spanish mackerel. Proof right here. That's at Caswell Beach. I cast out pretty far to get them, but I had a Carolina rig there with just a live finger mullet. and we got ourselves a nice Spanish mackerel. So we can take him home, throw him in the smoker, right? So get out there, catch some fish. You know everything about bait you ever needed to know.